Everyone knows that NFL teams compete for the Super Bowl, and only one team is able to get the Super Bowl trophy. It's a great accomplishment. Now, I want to talk to you about the shirts behind me. Each one of them represents a trophy of volunteering, where a team of us came together to win in a great accomplishment. My passion to serve started in 2011 when I went through a fire and someone served me and my daughter. In 2013, I was offered a position as an All-State Ambassador to help in serving the community, and I found it very, very rewarding. My name is Jason Vesser, and I've worked and volunteered for the Pocatello Neighborhood Works, the Idaho Food Bank, and then also Big Mama's House. And then there's even many more that I am not able to name. In working with these organizations, I have found that there is a severe need for volunteers in our community. And this is because there's a limited amount of people who are volunteering. People are not being taught how to volunteer or connect with establishments for opportunities. And then the other thing as well is media coverage focuses on the global needs rather than that in our backyard, in our community, and even that of our neighbors. I want to encourage you to get involved in the community because 1, there is a great need for volunteering. 2, a small amount of your time goes a long way in serving others. And 3, it's very rewarding for those who you serve, as well as yourself. Pursuing this further, the Bureau of Labor Volunteer Report showed that Americans who volunteered an hour, or at least an hour in the year, in 2005 had about a 29% rate of our populations who volunteered at least an hour. In 2015, the same report was down to 24.9%. Now, this may sound like a small amount, a 3.9% difference. However, it is millions of people who are no longer volunteering when they once were. Here is the report showing. And it shows how there has been a steady decline. In a survey I sent to our class with questions towards volunteering, 100% of the students said that there was a need in Pocatello. 57% of them said that they had not volunteered within the last year, and 63% reported that they didn't know how to volunteer. Consequently, this shows us that there is an opportunity. Many organizations are trying to have it addressed, and they have tried methods such as using websites or staffing coordinators. The method seemed like a good idea to increase volunteers, but they have brought poison in that many websites are requiring applications and unnecessary processes in trying to have volunteers participate. And also, as well, that websites do not show the full community needs for volunteering. They may show only well-established nonprofit organizations. And then also staffing coordinators are focused more towards finding people with an ample amount of time rather than focusing on somebody who doesn't have but an hour or two to volunteer. Now, we have made the simple process of volunteering as complicated as a Picasso painting. So I propose this, that we encourage a movement that gives attention to the needs of volunteers by focusing on media, social websites, and then also the word of mouth. In addition to that, connecting volunteers to volunteer websites such as volunteermatch.com, a very popular website for volunteer nonprofits, or connecting with volunteers and having them reach out to nonprofits. And third, doing or identifying things that people do not have an interest in. With service, it is important that we don't serve ourselves. by finding things that only interest us, but things that help everyone. The solution I propose creates more involvement in the community, and it helps all organizations, even those in which people are not interested in volunteering. The movement helps everyone. Those opposed would say that people do not have the time to volunteer, and I understand their argument for free time, but I disagree. And the reason why is that the Bureau of Labor conducted a report in 2015 called the American Time Use Report, and it showed that full-time employees, those who worked 40 hours a week, have an amount of 4 hours of leisure time in a day. In fact, of that leisure time, 2 hours and 47 minutes has been reported towards watching TV. The annual amount of free time in a year that full-time employees have is 1,492 hours. We can all give at least an hour of our time in the year to volunteer and serve. Now that I've shown how we have the time, we just need to schedule it. And with scheduling your time, don't focus on the things that interest you. Picture this. I was presented a photograph for a project by Neighborhood Works. It was a project that involved a lot of landscaping, and I hated doing landscaping work. However, I told them that I would do this. It was for an elderly woman who wasn't able to complete her own yard work. When I went out there, I was the only one who showed up to the event. Now, with this, I worked for 5 hours, and the elderly woman who sat in a wheelchair watched me like a hawk. And at the end, she summoned me over and had me talk to her, and she told me about how her husband used to make such a beautiful yard. And when he passed, she wasn't able to come out and look at it. It was something that made her so embarrassed. And she began to cry, and she told me how excited she was to go out and look at the birds tomorrow morning. She gave me a big hug. Now, this experience was one where it was one that I had no interest in serving in, but it was the most rewarding of all of my volunteer experiences. Now, imagine this, that you're asked to help serve, and that they're looking for 12 volunteers. And when you arrive, only 3 or 4 are there. This is something that is very common in serving. Many people are asked to help, but only few show. Something that I found in volunteering is that there is too much focus towards finding things that people are interested in. Moving forward, I encourage everyone to be a part of the volunteer movement. By spending at least 1 hour of your time in service this year, seeking volunteer activities online or by connecting with local establishments here in the community, as well as participating in events that are outside of your box. In closing, to summarize it all, there is a great need of volunteers, and your time goes a long way and is rewarding to you and those you serve. Now, it's true that a boat can be oared by one person, but a boat can never go as far as it would if 2 people were in the boat. You are needed.